Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining another webinar as part of our webinar series. Uh, if you are attending this webinar for the first time, let me introduce myself and also introduce our guest speakers today. I'm Kishore Ramaraju from Sugarland, Texas. I am in this country since last 15 plus years. I am basically from Hyderabad. I moved in 2005. Uh, I got around 20 years of experience as an IT consultant, and also I am a passive income coach. So, in case if any of you are looking to generate passive income, either using time or using money or using both, you can contact me. We can have a free consultation session where I can suggest you different ways where you can invest and you can generate that passive income. In addition to that, I want to inform you that we had over 50 plus webinars in last 6 months, especially in this COVID situation. We thought like this the best time where we all can invest on ourselves and where we can learn a lot of new things because most of us are first generation in this country, right? We think many things work in the same way, just like as in our home country, just like as in India, but here many things are different, right? Especially with respect to kids college education, there are lot of differences between India and the US. In India, cultural activities or extracurricular activities, we don't really give them lot of importance, but here they are a lot more important. So there are so many things which we don't know until we face that situation, until our kids are in college, which might be too late. So that's why we had various webinars. Mr. Raj Kamal Rao Garu supported us, gave nearly 16 to 17 webinars since last 6 to 7 months on various topics, including like how to write essays on SAT, on PSAT, on various topics, not only related to kids college education. We had various webinars related to immigration, related to taxation, investment strategies, business opportunities, new technologies in IT, related to meditation, lot more topics. And we have two more webinars in pipeline, or basically one is today at 8:30 p.m. If someone wants to know like what are these multifamily investment opportunities, you can send me a message. I'll send the link for that, which is at 8:30 p.m. CST after this call. And then we have another webinar on auto trading using TD Ameritrade, which is on this on Saturday at 2 p.m. CST. And in case if you want to know information on more topics, right, there might be more uh, more topics where you want to get more details. You can send me an email or you can send me a text message. Or if you want to know about the passive income strategies, you can write to me, and I can basically send you a meeting request. We can do a free consultation session. Now, let me introduce our moderator and also our guest speaker today, uh, Mr. Raj Kamal Rao Garu, who is founding managing director of Rao Advisors, a full service US Texas firm. Uh, he's a great community person. He wants to support the community, and also he did, as I already told, right before COVID, he came all the way from Dallas to Houston to do various webinars and educated a lot of parents on various concepts related to college education. And also for this webinar also, he spoke to multiple students and gathered all of them. And he will be moderating the session today. Raj Kamal Logaro also serves as an international columnist for the Hindu Business Line, which is India's second largest financial newspaper, having written over 270 articles. He lives in Bedford, Texas, and a great person, helping in various groups, clarifying a lot of questions. Many of the parents having about, because there are so many changes going on now with the COVID situation, with all the examinations, all these things. So thanks, Raj Kamal Rao Garu, for taking time, and it's all yours. Please introduce the guest speakers today, or the kids who are taking their valuable time to share their knowledge, their experience with other parents and kids here. So yeah. You can take it over from here. You can
Thank you,
share the
Kishore
screen.
garu. Thank you. So let me, do I have the screen? There I go. Thank you. Thank you again, Kishore garu. So, good evening, everybody. Thank you again for coming to this webinar. Thank you again, Kishore, for organizing it. You do such a great job. I don't know what we would do without all of the work that you do behind the scenes. But let's get right to it. We have about an hour. We have gathered 5 extraordinary high school students to talk to you about their journeys today. But before we do that, I'm sure you're able to see my screen. I just want to spend literally not even 2 minutes to talk about, to give you some context about extracurricular activities. Kishore already mentioned how important they are. Today, I've been posting heavily on Facebook about many of the early decisions that came out of the Ivy League schools, Dartmouth, Yale, and Brown, and Penn, and you can see that it's getting harder and harder for many of us to get into these colleges. So character is a very important part of a student's overall profile, and extracurricular activities will demonstrate that character. So, um, so what are extracurricular activities, right? They're like icing on a cake. So obviously you're going to have your basic academics, your grades, your GPA, your college essays, your SAT scores, your recommendation letters, all of that good stuff. But then your extracurricular activities are like the icing on a cake, because that is what you likely describe in your essays, and you become a more human student as opposed to just somebody with objective metrics like class rank and your SAT scores. So again, I don't want to rush this, but at the same time, if you have any questions about this, please go to our website, and if you go to the popular posts section and check out articles 17 and 18, a lot of the theory behind this is covered in those two posts. Again, rawadvisors.com, popular posts 17 and 18. Okay, so Jeff Brenzel, who's no longer the Dean of Undergraduate Admissions, but who had a great career there doing this, and there is a link. When you click on the post link to number 17, you will actually see him speak in the post. And he says that you should do things that you truly enjoy in high school rather than try to outguess an admissions committee. So when it comes to extracurricular activities, do what you like, because if you do what you like, you're likely to be good at it, right? So, and then finally, so what are the different extracurricular activities that you could potentially pursue in school? So clearly there are school activities. You could do sports, special interest clubs. We have a person today who will talk about robotics. We have another person who will talk about student government today. Then we have community activities like theater, music, and art groups. We have another boy who will talk about music, although that is not his primary thing. He actually is an Eagle Scout, and we will talk about. He will also have a chance to talk about his stuff. Then, of course, internships, summer jobs, all of that is always very important. And then we all know volunteering, how you help out the community. So there are several ways you can slice and dice the extracurricular activities. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you our first speaker today. And as I said, 5 outstanding students. And I welcome Sarika Kota to come and talk about her experiences. Each speaker will have about 2 minutes, and then we will kind of go round robin and maybe do one more round, and then we can open it up to questions. So we'll have 2 rounds, each speaker 2 minutes. Sarika, you go first. Sarika, are you there?
We can't hear you, Sarika. I see that you are unmuted, but
Okay. Oh, there you go, Sarika. Can you?
Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yes, we can. Go ahead, Sarika. It's all yours.
So sorry about that. My name is Sarika and I'm from Houston. I graduated from Bel Air High School in 2020 and I currently attend UT Austin for their Macomb School of Business as a freshman. And in high school, I kept myself pretty busy. One extracurricular that I spent a lot of time with was debate. By my junior year of high school, I'd spent about 6 years in debate, two of which were at the national circuit level. And I ended up ranking top 19 in the country for public forum debate, for those of you who are familiar with it. And throughout my time in debate, I made sure I was giving back to the debate community through mentoring and coaching students younger than me at my old middle school. Another extracurricular I was heavily involved in was the Junior State of America. It's the largest student-run nonprofit organization in the country, and its goal is to fight political apathy amongst the youth in the United States. And ultimately, I was the national director of public relations for this entire organization by my senior year. And by that time, I had managed between 15 to over 100 students from my sophomore to senior year. And in addition, I held another three other positions within this organization, along with some other volunteering and civic events that I had planned throughout my 4 years of high school, along with voter registration and other events and activities such as that. But I'm happy to help and answer any questions you all have later on about debate or really just balancing extracurriculars.
Outstanding, Sarika. Outstanding. I'm so privileged to have you as my client. So, although you're not a client anymore. So, okay. So next up is Sahaj Biani. Sahaj, do you have everything set? Can you? You're on next.
Yes, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can, Sahaj. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my name is Sahaj. I'm a senior at Tompkins High School here in Katy, Texas. For us, the first semester is coming to a close tomorrow, and I'm really excited for the winter breaks and the holidays. Um, the last few months, I've been pretty busy with college applications, with my essays, virtual visits, and interviews. And at this time, I have received some acceptances from a few colleges like Penn, and I'm waiting for a few others. But one thing I can definitely say and emphasize on is that extracurriculars have played a significant role in my college applications. I think one of the key elements in my essay was my scouting experience and earning the highest rank of Eagle Scout. Uh, I've been part of the Boy Scouts for the last 5 years, and in my essay, I spoke about how it helped shape my personality. Uh, in my troop, I took some leadership roles. I was a patrol leader, webmaster, an instructor, which meant I was mentoring younger scouts, and I also had the honor of being nominated by my fellow scouts for the Order of the Arrow for displaying teamwork and service above self. Also in scouts, also enjoyed various camping trips, both in state and out of state, and the various activities that that we participate there, like hiking, wilderness survival, and a lot of other adventures. Uh, there were a few other things in my resume that like representing the school tennis team, extensive community service, and taking up leadership positions in many school clubs. And most recently, I made it to the national qualifiers for the Beta Club National Leadership Summit. And that's something I'm looking forward to next year. But as there's only like 4 or 5% of scouts that actually advance through those 7 ranks and make it to Eagle Scout, and it requires like years of dedication and perseverance. I think colleges place a lot of they see earning that Eagle Scout as a reflection of like your commitment and your personality. I just wanted to say to all the younger students here, I would advise you guys to build your interest and stay committed to pursuing them long term. It's very self-fulfilling and it builds your personality and it's good for college applications.
Thank you.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you,
listening.
Sahaj. You're an outstanding student. You're an outstanding person. So I'm so privileged to know you. So, okay. Next up is another favorite client of mine, Ankita Sumit. Ankita, go.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. Give me 1 second. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. My name is Ankita Sumit. I graduated from Frisco Independence High School as the class of 2020, and this year I'm a freshman in UT Austin at the Macomb School of Business, and I'm also pursuing a computer science certification as well. As for my academics, I took 14 AP courses in high school. I earned a perfect score in SAT Math and PSAT Math, and I graduated as an AP Scholar with honor and an ISM student, which I will probably touch in the second round once we come back. As mentioned on an earlier slide, extracurriculars can take you places that you otherwise would not have gone to. And so in my experience, I really made my mark with the band. And so I started since 4th grade and I've been doing it for 10 years now. And so in the 7th grade, I auditioned to perform in Carnegie Hall in New York and I made it in. And the year after, I auditioned to tour and perform in 8 countries in Europe and represent the state of Texas, and I also made it in. So those were 2 very prestigious opportunities that made me find a passion in music, but also develop an intense work ethic. And so I was able to apply that in high school where I became a part of the band leadership team. And I ultimately finished my senior year off by becoming a drum major, which is essentially the president of band. And so I would lead rehearsals and function as the right-hand man to our band director. Additionally, I was part of BPA, ISM, and was heavily involved in the community. But as I said, I will touch on that after we come back to the second round. So if y'all have questions about multitasking or balancing your schedule, I'm the person to talk to.
Yes, we know, Ankita. Thank you. Thank you again. So, Anish, one of our current favorites, class of 21, you're next.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anish Mankal, and I currently attend Liberty High School as a senior. And like Mr. Rao said, I'm class of 2021. My intended major for college is computer science, and I've really kind of furthered that interest and passion through a lot of my classes and extracurriculars. So as you can see on the slide, I've taken 13 APs, and I've earned the National AP Scholar along with National Merit Commended, and along with high standardized test scores of 35 and 800. Additionally, like we heard a little bit earlier, I'm also part of the Independent Study and Mentorship Program, which is a program where you get a year-long opportunity to study a topic of your choice. So last year I studied cybersecurity, and this year I'm doing machine learning. Now for my extracurriculars, I've had multiple, but the main ones as listed there is, firstly is robotics. So I've been doing this since 5 years, and I started with FLL, and now I'm currently in First Tech Challenge. And I've competed at the state level and have earned individual awards such as the Dean's List semifinalist and state level awards with my team. Additionally, I've served on numerous positions from lead programmer to vice president to treasurer to captain of my former team. And this has really kind of built my experiences and proven my passion in this field. Additionally, I've also continued to mentor and teach at robotics camps and kind of instruct the next generation. My other ones is piano, which I've been doing for about 7 to 8 years, and I've achieved distinction in the highest levels of the international exams from ABRSM. And I've also applied and selected to a prestigious worldwide Indian Music Fellowship program. Some of the other ones include Business Professionals of America, in which I've competed at the state level. And I've also done a couple other tech and entrepreneurship internships, one through a software startup, another program that was another online program, and finally one more program through NASA, which I did through my junior year. Throughout high school, I really believe that it's important that you stay focused on what you want to do. And it's very important to build your passion and kind of build a network through extracurriculars. My message to upcoming freshmen and people in high school currently is, I'd say, is really go out and reach for opportunities. I'd really say don't hesitate to reach out to people, don't hesitate to try something new. And I feel like that's where you really kind of find what interests you like the most. So I'll touch on my internships and my volunteer hours and a little bit of ISM in the second round also. Thank you.
Thank you, Anish. Thank you. It's such a pleasure to have you here today. And I think he's up last, but he's an incredible success story. So Rohan, you're next.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rohan Arabolu, and I'm currently a senior at Plano West High School. So I'll be graduating this May under the class of 2021. And so far, I'm committed to play college golf at NYU in this coming fall. And just a little intro about myself academically. I have about a 1410 SAT, and I've taken roughly about 13 AP classes in the last 4 years. And about golf, I've been playing that for roughly 10 years or so right now, and I'm ranked in the top 1% of all high school golfers in the nation. And aside from golf, I've participated in science fairs, that the school and districts and all those offer for about the last 5 or so years. And touching back on some volunteer work, me and some buddies started this program called the Rising Stars Golf Academy, where we mentor a lot of upcoming golfers about, tournaments, courses, coaches, and all of that. And I'll get into more detail about all of this in the second round.
Thank you. So first of all, my first comment is when I hear these people is we all have only 24 hours in a day. How do they create time to do so many things? And before I turn it over to all of them to answer this question, isn't it fascinating? These kids are so accomplished, and yet with such intelligence, with such impressive profiles, every one of them has to fight to get into the top colleges. This would never have been the case even 15 or 20 years ago. All of these kids would have done an Ivy League sweep. And today it is so hard because that's how competitive it has become. And also because the benchmark of college admission rules, the benchmark has changed. We are more into things like, diversity and inclusion and things like that. And we are no longer considered, the Indian American community is no longer considered a minority. We are considered to be a privileged class, as we all understood from the judgments in the appeals court recently in the Harvard case. So anyway, I want all of you to really focus on this one question, which is you're all so good in academics, but there are only 24 hours in a day. How do you manage your time? Sarika, you're first.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, fantastic. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to echo what Sahaj mentioned earlier, that extracurriculars and what the other students mentioned is that extracurriculars are so, so important. And as someone that basically filled out her entire resume on my first draft to 7 pages, I can tell you that it's really enticing to just keep going and going and going, and especially because we're telling you to find things that you're passionate about. So you kind of really get into it, and then your academics start to slack a little bit. And, we've all kind of been there at one time or another, but I think what really kept me going is understanding that at the end of the day, grades really do come first. You can set up a voter registration drive later. You need to make sure as a student that you're taking care of your priorities. So I would say number one, you need to understand what has a higher value to you, and in the grand scheme of things, because you don't want to fret, oh, well, I lost, 10 points on my SAT score that I could have made if I had just, practiced a little more instead of going to this debate meeting, ultimately you have to understand that those trade-offs will exist, but I would say the best way, and number two, the best way to kind of hedge your, hedge those trade-offs is by being really organized. I would say Google Calendar is your best friend, but more than that, you should really talk to your teachers, get to know them. And the sooner you start, the better, because teachers want to see you succeed. And unless they know about your busy schedule, they won't be able to help you. And it's really hard to swallow your pride and your ego and go to your teacher and be like, hey, I might need help or extra tutoring later on. Could I meet you for tutorials on Friday? And, more than likely they'll say yes. So Really, you just have to be looking 10 steps ahead. There's no secret formula to it except just planning in my personal experience. And to kind of divert really quickly, I know some of you guys had messaged me in the chat about civic activities and civic events. Those are essentially just events related to activism, social justice, and student government. And the way you can start getting into this is by working with your city council or activism clubs already existing at your school. But the one thing to take away is that planning is really the only answer. You need to just be thinking 10 steps ahead.
Sarika, that was very inspiring. Thank you for that. So, Sahaj, talk to us about how you managed juggling so many balls in the air, so to speak.
Well, what I used to do every day when I came home from school is put down a list of all the assignments I have due that day, due in the week, and really focus on my academics first because, like Sarika said, they come first in terms of GPA and all these academic awards that you can receive. So I always finish my work first and then work on some extracurriculars like going to scouting meetings or volunteering, because those things you can do during the weekend, but when the time comes, you have to find that balance between doing your extracurriculars and your academics. So like Sarika said, it's a good point to be very organized with your time, be efficient as well, make sure you don't spend too long on some things and skip out on other things that are just as essential. So
Sahaj, yeah, that is great, Sahaj. In the time you have, I want to give you an extra minute because I want you to talk a little bit about your Eagle Scout project. All of you who are seeing the screen, Sahaj is so comfortable sitting on that park bench. Tell us a little bit about that bench, Sahaj.
yeah, so in my essay, I also talked about my Eagle project. My Eagle project, it's one of the requirements to becoming an Eagle Scout. My service project was to build 4 garden benches for an elementary school, a local one in our area. So I reached out, and once I got the project secured, the project as a whole took around 200 hours and over 6 months to fully complete. I prepared the project plan, the design, including a 3D model, budgeting, securing approvals from the beneficiary, the troop, and the scout district. And after that, I recruited other scout volunteers and led them to build the other 3 benches after I built a prototype one for myself, and then installed them at the site. It was very it tested my leadership ability because of like COVID regulations, but I gained a lot of leadership experience from that, and I'm happy it came out really well. Yeah.
Outstanding, Sahaj. Outstanding. Congratulations again on that.
Thank
And
you.
you're pretty confident about your work because you're sitting on the bench, right? I don't know if I don't know if I would have ever done that. So if I had built a bench. So okay. So let's ask how Ankita managed her time. And from experience dealing with Ankita, I know how hard she would work. She was so busy. I had to kind of schedule calls with her at 11 o'clock at night because that was the time she was coming home from school. Ankita, do you remember those nice days?
Yes, I remember. Just to go off of that, my band schedule, just to give you an idea, I would have rehearsal because I was the drum major, the president of the organization with around 300 students, I'd have to be there an hour before rehearsal. So we're talking like 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. And then I'd have a full school day, and then I'd have to say after school. So 4:15 to maybe 6:15. And so that's like a 12-hour school day already. And then just to go into independent study and mentorship for ISM, like we heard earlier, I had to work with a mentor as well, and just a countless number of hours go into building a final product, exploring a new field of study. And I was also involved in community classes where I held 3 classes, which were Spanish, dance, public speaking, and it seemed to never end, like the grind never ended. But I think it all boils down to being intrinsically motivated, because I knew that I really loved band. My passion is definitely what kept me going. If I didn't enjoy it, I would have definitely dropped it. But if I wasn't as motivated, I don't think I would have pushed myself as hard to keep up with my studies in addition to extracurriculars because they are equally as important. And so my advice to all of the high schoolers out there and just anyone in general, just have your passions but also have your priorities and know that you have to work for the best of both worlds. You can't just always get what you want. You have to have balance in your life. And so I think that's really important. But yeah, that was basically it. Just it boils down to internal motivation.
Right, right. You still didn't talk about how you were able to manufacture 36 hours out of 24 hours, right?
Yeah, I still don't know myself. I just really wanted it badly.
Good, good. Anish, same question to you. You're also, you do so many things. You're outstanding in academics. You have so many extracurricular activities going on. So how do you manage your time?
Yeah, so like everyone else said already, I would also say academics first. I know we've heard that, but it was really academics first. You want to make sure you have those solid. You want to make sure those are kind of staying strong. But extracurricular wise, for example, for robotics, sometimes in my freshman year, we would stay 3 to 4 hours after school. Sometimes it would be even until 9, 10, or even 11 p.m. into the night before robotics competition days. So when you're really spending that much time in extracurriculars or staying that much time back after school or before school, it's really important to stay focused once you come home, right? So I think it's really important that once you go out there, when you're doing these extracurricular that you love, the time flies. It doesn't feel like a real commitment. It feels it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of it's a great experience. But once you come home, I really believe that what really helped me maintain academics and maintain other extracurriculars is to really stay focused, avoid distractions. And with this, sometimes you also have to sacrifice some other commitments. Sometimes you can't do all 10 extracurriculars at the same time. So sometimes you have to sacrifice them, and sometimes you have to selectively choose what you want to put the most time into. Like we heard earlier, again, I'm also part of the Independent Study and Mentorship Program, which took significant amount of time outside of school in working with the mentor. And since I did 2 computer science related topics, building all those projects and products and finishing the program. And with this, I really believe it's like once you set your mind to it, you should kind of have a discipline. Another thing is it's important not to procrastinate or wait until the deadline. So I really believe that's also what helped me progress. So if you start early and you try to finish early or on time, I think you can really manage both extracurriculars and classes and grades in school.
You guys are so inspiring. It's amazing. So, Rohan, I want to talk about your typical golf day when you would go out and how many days of the week you would do this, and also talk a little bit about how competitive golf is. And it is amazing what this kid has achieved. He's in the top 1% of the entire country, and NYU is actively looking into recruiting him as an athlete to play Division 3 golf for them. It is such an honor. Rohan, you go next.
So for me, like my average day, would start like many other high schoolers, just go to school at 8 o'clock. And, I would usually get out of school around 3 o'clock, 3:30. But from there, I almost had to go to another school. In my case, it was golf, because every single day I'd have high school golf practice, which would usually last till 5:30, 6, or until dark, when the sun would stay up longer. And I also played golf outside of school. And so to still be able to compete at that level, I still had to spend more time. So me just practicing golf on a daily schedule is usually until like 7 or 8 o'clock almost some days. And then from there, I always had to, go to the gym, work out, and most importantly, stretch. Because when you play a sport to that level, a single injury, which at least in golf, the most common one was our back. An injury like that is just wastes all the time and effort you've spent the last years and years of hard work. And so that was something I always had to do. And then I would get home around like 9 o'clock, 10. And by the time I took a shower, 8 and stuff, and I finished schoolwork, most of the time would be past midnight. And then so it was just that continuous, rotational cycle every day of the week. And then about 2 out of the 4 weekends every month, I would have a tournament. And those tournaments are both Saturdays and Sundays. And those are usually 8 or 9 hour days of just on the course. And so, during those weekends, it was a really big challenge to, get all your schoolwork in, because we'd be out there playing tournaments when it's over 100 degrees out there for like 8 or 9 hours. And so by the time you get home and you rest up and everything, your day is almost over. And so the biggest thing that helped me get through all of this was just really staying organized and thinking like 3 weeks or 2 weeks in advance of just knowing, what assignments do I have? What tests do I have? So that, you can start studying and prepping for all of those in advance so that you don't fall behind, take zeros for assignments. Because I felt like, whenever you had a 0 for an assignment, that's a big hit to your grade book and your academics and all of that.
Fantastic, Rohan. Thank you so much. So, as I said, it's such a pleasure to be with all of you. Let me actually look at some questions that have been asked. And let's see. There is one question, and I think this is primarily to Ankita and to Anish. This is a very Frisco ISD kind of question. And it says here, which grade do you do ISM? So Ankita, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. So ISM is a program that is only offered in Frisco ISD as of right now. And so you would be able to do that in your 11th grade year or your junior year, and also your senior year if you'd wish to do that. But really, you technically don't need a program like ISM in order to reach out to a mentor or reach out to anybody through LinkedIn and connect with them and just say, hey, can you teach me about your line of work, or are you available to discuss this at some time? But the answer to that question would be junior year is when you could start.
Okay, thank you, Ankita. So by the way, ISM means independent study. And Anish, what does M stand for?
Yeah, so it stands for independent study and mentorship. So one thing I want to add to that is it's an application-based course, so it's not something you can directly sign up for. So usually at the end of your 10th grade, they will release applications for ISM. And if you're admitted into the program, you can take it in your junior and senior year, like Ankita said. And one more thing is it provides a really good platform to pursue your passions or your interests. And that's why I would personally recommend the program, because it was a really great experience for me.
So Anish, there is a question about what do you do mainly in ISM? Give us an example. So Anish, can you talk about how you shadowed your mentor, please?
Sure. Yeah. So first, to give a little bit of background, for the entire first semester, we do a lot of research into our topic. So if I'm doing machine learning this year, we read a lot of academic journals and articles, and we do a lot of research first on our topic. And by the end of the semester, we create a project called Original Work. Now for the second semester is where the mentoring comes in. So this is where we get a professional in the industry, or we get a professor in the field of our study, and we go to their place, or we go to their area of work once a week. And for about an hour a week, we just shadow them. Basically, we kind of watch what work they're doing. We can kind of participate in their meetings, see their discussions. And it's a great experience to kind of get exposure to the actual industry field. And basically, after we do this mentoring, we do it for about the entire second semester. And by the end of the second semester, the goal is to create something called a final product, which is basically like a kind of like a big end of year project that we do that kind of showcases all our work and abilities in this field. But yeah, so basically the main part about mentoring is kind of going to a mentor's place of work once a week and kind of learning from them, attending their meetings, seeing their work for about an hour a week.
Great. Thank you, Anish. Sarika, I would like you to step in on this. You and I have talked about this before. And there is a question from Kaushal Shah that asks, how do you identify kids' interest it is hiding due to a lot of interaction with iPhones and iPads. So, Sarika, can you talk about how you were a relatively ordinary student and how in the ninth grade debate really ordinary student in terms of extracurriculars, but how in the ninth grade you embrace debate and how debate really made you who you are today in very many ways. Talk to us a
Yeah.
little bit about your debate journey, Sarika.
Absolutely. That's a very valid question. I know a lot of people are also struggling with finding internships right now, so it's a very common struggle, totally valid. So my backstory of this is a little odd. I will preface by saying that I think that in identifying your child's interests, parents are the best at it. My backstory of this is that when I was really young, even if I was really upset and was crying at the age of 3 or whatever, no matter how upset I was, I would always argue with my dad and get my point across, and he day by day would start planting the seed of, hey, you should join debate, you would be really good at it. And so I think just as a parent, you have the best perspective of what your kid is interested in. So for example, let's say they really start talking about, different sports games and, you just can't get them to stop talking about it. You should be like, hey, maybe you should try out for a sport. You could start going to training, you could start going to the gym, whatever it is. You just need to listen to them. I would say the first key thing is to really listen to your kid. And you should also just ask them, to be completely frank with you, just ask them hey, what are some things that you've been interested in lately? If it's current events, maybe redirect them to a politics club or a debate club. If they're like, hey, well, I really like coding, I use Scratch and I'm really interested in it, then you should sign them up for some programming classes. I think, like I'm saying, parents really just do have the best insight if they take a second to listen to their kid and try to understand their personality a bit more, if that helps out.
And that is very good advice coming from you. But talk to us about what you did in the ninth grade, how you developed in debate, and talk and also very briefly talk to us about your visit to Purdue for student government and that incredible opportunity that you had, the Ben Franklin opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of ground to cover here. I'll first address the debate question. So it's definitely a struggle. Being a female in debate definitely comes with its own challenges, but I will admit that that's what made me a lot stronger. I don't remember who mentioned it in this call, but it's really important to network and reach out to those who are older than you. More than likely, they're willing to help. And it was definitely not easy. I really wasn't good with public speaking at all when I started out in middle school, but you just take it tournament by tournament. You have to understand that losses are part of the growing experience, but just like how you take the SAT, just like how you take the ACT, you figure out where your struggles are and then you work on enhancing it for the next tournament, the next competition. And this really goes for whether it's robotics or any other field too. And to respond to your question about the fellowship, so in 2019, I had been chosen as one of 10 Americans to be part of something called the Benjamin Franklin Transatlantic Fellowship Program. We were joined by 45 European students, one from each of I believe the UN recognized nations. It was sponsored by the US Department of State, and it was fully paid, a month long, where we would spend our time at Purdue University, and we explored a lot of politics. We met a lot of different politicians. We understood different types of, European legislature and American legislature, and understanding a lot of cultural barriers and differences. We held a lot of debates, and it really gave us a lot of insight. We broke down the Constitution and looked at a lot of stuff in depth. It was a really great program. If any of you have questions about that, feel free to message me. I can provide you with more details on that too.
Fantastic, Sarika. So, Ankita, I have a question for you. Can you talk a little bit about how you felt when you went to Carnegie Hall in New York and you performed there? What an incredible honor. And also talk a little bit about your experiences going to 8 European countries and being part of a team and performing there. You were part of the Lone Star Band, weren't you?
Yes, the Texas Lone Star Ambassadors.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Ankita. It's all
Yeah,
yours.
so this opportunity to perform in Carnegie Hall actually came to me in middle school. I was really privileged to be in a school district that was like placed such a big emphasis on music in general. And so I was given the opportunity to audition for a spot in a small band of like around 50 people. And once I got in, we were given the opportunity to go to New York and play in Carnegie Hall, which is a super prestigious hall. For those of you who don't know, I believe like Mahatma Gandhi and like J.K. Rowling and very famous people, very notable people have been there. And so as a middle schooler, it definitely opened my eyes to what music could bring me, because it wasn't just me going to another class anymore. Like I realized it could bring me like travel opportunities. I could find my passion through it. And like I mentioned earlier, it just helped me develop such a great work ethic. So I'm really thankful for that. And also, I ended up auditioning to travel and perform in 8 countries in Europe. So that was very exciting. My dad actually came with me on that trip. And I was also in a small ensemble, close to like 50 to 70 people. And we just toured Europe and performed in every country. It was a great opportunity. Like, those are some of the greatest memories that I have. But I also want to go back to when we were talking about time management and balancing our academics. I am super thankful for having band in my life like these past 10 years, just because I found such a stable group of friends this entire time. And I believe that your company that you keep definitely has an impact on your academics and your approach to high school. Um, Not to reiterate what every parent says, but definitely like without the friends that I have, I wouldn't be as motivated to get great scores, or maybe we compete against each other, or just see how far we've come. Just in general, band has been great overall for me. So yeah.
Fantastic, Ankita. So we're talking about ISM, and I want to ask Anish this question. Anish, you have been doing ISM Light for some time. Talk to us a little bit about how you took the lead to talk to this UT computer science professor, and how you ended up doing a project for him even when you were in high school. Listen to this, guys. This is amazing. Anish, go. You go.
Yeah, so so what I basically did is a lot of students towards their later years of high school actually partake in academic research. So this is like graduate level work that professors and grad students do. So what I basically did is I emailed a couple of professors at UT Austin, a couple of computer science professors. And since I was already well into the computer science field and I had a good amount of experience, I emailed him, showed my experience, showed him my resume, and he kind of accepted it, or said he would give me a project. So with this UT computer science professor, I did a project for about 6 to 7 weeks. And this was in the field of persistent memory, and at the UT Storage and Systems Lab. But basically what this really showed me is you can really reach out to people and kind of get opportunity. So this opportunity was not pre-made, it was not existing already. It was something that I had to go and reach out to multiple professors before even getting a reply back. And once I did get a reply back, I had to put in the hard work and the extensive time to learn all these graduate level concepts in computer science and kind of apply them to actually produce a successful project. So this is a lot of students kind of in these kinds of fields also do academic research, and you can take this further and you can get into publications and take this higher. But yeah, so to sum up, yeah, I had to reach out to a professor and complete a pretty difficult project, which took a large amount of time. And from that, it was a great experience to go deep into the field and learn a lot of high level and advanced things.
That's great, Anish. Thank you. And Sahaj, I want to bring you in. I know you did something that most kids do not do, and that is you took actually a college course in nanotechnology at UCLA. Can you talk a little bit about that, Sahaj?
Yeah, so throughout my high school years, I think in ninth and 10th grade, I found out that my passion was in nanotechnology, and typically in its applications in nanoscience. And I was planning on doing something for in 10th grade for learning a bit more about it, really solidifying my interest in the field. We had to go to India and also the year after in 11th grade. I took this course actually this year. Yeah, this year I took this course this summer at UCLA on the applications of nanoscience. I was planning to do a secondary course as well, nanoscience lab, but with COVID and all, that one got canceled, and the application of nanoscience one was moved remotely, so we had to do it online. Most of the people who were in it were based around the California area, so they sent me lab supplies and stuff, and I set it up in my room area, and I learned more about nanoscience and how I can apply it to different fields like therapeutics, um, using polymers and magnetism, other fields. And it really helped solidify my interest in the field and kind of move me on. So now I'm thinking of doing research, especially undergraduate and graduate research on nanoscience and how it can really like shape my career, I guess.
Outstanding, outstanding. So again, I thank you all very, very much. I want to bring Kishore back in. Kishore Garu, aren't we really so blessed to have these kids come and talk to us? And I'm sure so many parents have been inspired by these kinds of stories. So again, you know that this is just a very small, I would say, set of students that we have presented. We can do more of this in the coming months. But Kishore, do you have any thoughts to conclude? I know we're coming to the end of the call.
No, Rajgaru. Definitely, I want to thank Anish, Ankita, Rohan, Sahaj, Sarika for taking time and sharing your experience and tips to all the parents and kids. We have over 100 participants here, and another 400-500 people are watching on Facebook Live. So, thousands of right, if we include their entire family who might be watching, so thousands are getting benefited with your tips. So, thanks again, and on behalf of all the parents, wish you all the best. I'm sure you will achieve much heights of success.
And
And
Kishore Garu, can you
yeah,
please,
thanks
thank
to
you for this again. Can you please post the Facebook, link so that the kids can actually watch it for themselves?
yeah, definitely, Rajgaru. I'll post it, and also I'm recording the session because I got requests from few parents that they want to show it to their kids. So I'm also recording it. I'll post it in the YouTube where we have thousands of subscribers. So there'll be a lot more people who will watch and get the information which is needed for all the
Correct.
parents.
And how will we know the links to these links, Kishore Garu?
I will send it to you,
Okay.
Rajgaru. And
All right.
yeah,
So those of you who are on who are following us on Facebook, I will put the links out on Facebook so that you can see for yourself. Okay, yourselves. So thank you again very much, everybody. Have a good evening.
thank you all. Bye, everyone.
Bye.